Hello and welcome to my channel The History Hub. In this video, we'll be examining one of the most significant events in English history, the Norman Conquest of England in 1066, and specifically the Battle of Hastings, which was the decisive battle of the conquest. Imagine a world where the course of history could have been completely different if just one battle had gone the other way. That's exactly what happened in 1066 when the Normans invaded England and fought the Anglo-Saxons in the Battle of Hastings. This battle was a turning point in English history, deciding who would be the next king and shaping the course of English culture, politics, and society for centuries to come. In this video, we will examine the Norman Conquest of England and dive deep into the details of the Battle of Hastings. We will explore the strategies and tactics used by both sides, the weapons and technology of the time, and the impact of the battle on English history. So, buckle up and get ready for an exciting journey into one of the most epic battles in world history. To understand the context of the Norman Conquest, we need to go back to the 11th century. The Norman Conquest of England was the result of a complex web of political and cultural factors. In the early 11th century, England was ruled by a succession of weak Anglo-Saxon kings who were unable to maintain a strong central government. This led to a power vacuum that was filled by ambitious local lords, who fought for control of different regions of England. Meanwhile, across the English Channel in Normandy, a new dynasty of Viking descent had risen to power. The Normans had adopted many French customs and language, but retained their Viking fighting spirit and love of adventure. Their leader, Duke William of Normandy, had a claim to the English throne through his distant cousin, King Edward the Confessor, who had promised the throne to William before his death in 1066. However, another claimant to the English throne emerged in the form of Harold Godwin's son, the Earl of Wessex, who was crowned King of England shortly after Edward's death. Harold had no direct claim to the throne, but he was a powerful and popular noble who had a strong army at his disposal. Duke William saw Harold's coronation as a violation of his rights and began preparing for an invasion of England. He assembled a large army of Norman knights and infantry, along with archers and crossbowmen, and set sail across the Channel to confront Harold's army. The Battle of Hastings was the culmination of these tensions and rivalries between the Anglo-Saxons and Normans. It was a battle for the future of England, and its outcome would determine whether England would be ruled by an Anglo-Saxon king or a Norman duke. However, Harold's claim to the throne was contested by William, Duke of Normandy, a powerful French nobleman who was also a distant cousin of King Edward. William believed that Edward had promised him the throne before he died, and he was determined to enforce his claim by force. In September 1066, William invaded England with a large army of Norman knights and soldiers. Harold, who had just defeated another claimant to the throne, had to rush his army south to confront the Normans. On October 14, 1066, the two armies met in a decisive battle near the town of Hastings. The Norman conquest was not just a military victory, but also a cultural one. The Normans brought with them a rich and sophisticated culture that had been influenced by both French and Viking traditions. This cultural fusion helped shape the course of English literature, art, and architecture, as well as the English language itself, which absorbed many French words and expressions. The Norman conquest also had significant political implications. It marked the beginning of a long period of Anglo-French rivalry, which would last for centuries and shape the politics of Europe. The Norman kings of England, including William the Conqueror, Henry II, and Richard the Lionheart, would also be deeply involved in the affairs of continental Europe, especially in their struggles against the French and German emperors. The Norman conquest also had a profound impact on the church in England. The Norman bishops and abbots brought with them a more centralized and hierarchical form of Christianity, which was modeled on the French church. They also established many new monasteries and religious orders, which helped spread the Christian faith throughout England. The Norman conquest was not universally accepted by the English people. Many Anglo-Saxons resented the Norman conquerors and rebelled against their rule, especially in the north of England. The Norman conquest also had a lasting impact on the English legal system. They introduced the concept of trial by jury, which allowed a group of local people to decide the guilt or innocence of an accused person. Later this became a cornerstone of the English legal system and would be adopted by other countries around the world. The Battle of Hastings was a brutal and bloody affair, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. The Normans had several advantages, including their superior cavalry and archers, but the Anglo-Saxons fought bravely and managed to repel several Norman attacks. However, in the end, Harold was killed and his army was defeated, paving the way for William to become the first Norman king of England. The Battle of Hastings was fought on October 14, 1066, near the town of Hastings in southern England. It was one of the most significant battles in English history, as it decided who would be the next king of England and would shape the course of English history for centuries to come. The battle lasted all day and was fought in 3 phases. In the first phase, the Normans attacked the English shield wall with cavalry charges, but were repelled by the English infantry. In the second phase, the Normans tried to outflank the English line, but were again repulsed. In the final phase, the Normans launched a feigned retreat, which drew the English out of their defensive position and allowed the Normans to attack them from behind. After the battle, William the Conqueror was crowned King of England on Christmas Day, 1066, at Westminster Abbey in London. However, he faced several rebellions by English nobles who resented his rule and wanted to restore Anglo-Saxon rule. These rebellions were brutally suppressed by William, and he established a firm grip on the English throne. The Norman Conquest of England had a profound impact on English society, culture, and language. The Normans introduced many new ideas and customs to England, including feudalism, the use of castles and knights, and the French language. Many English words also entered the language as a result of the Norman Conquest. The Norman Conquest led to a consolidation of power in England and the establishment of a strong central government. Finally, the Norman Conquest had lasting effects on English foreign policy and relationships with other European powers. England became more closely connected to continental Europe, and the English monarchy began to play a more prominent role in European affairs. Overall, the Norman Conquest of England had far-reaching and long-lasting impacts on English history and culture. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about this fascinating period of history. Thank you for watching, subscribe this channel and press the bell icon. I'll see you in the next one.